Welcome to the Head Start Show, where I, Shivad Singh, interview the most successful and inspiring young people in the world. This is done with the aim to inspire and fuel you to take action on your dreams. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Part 1. Inspire. So, Cornel has invented the Lumen, a device that helps the visually impaired get around. He is also a research and development innovation manager at Continental and is the author of the Arduino Development Cookbook. But head starters, I'm not done yet. Cornel was selected as a Forbes 30 Under 30 Europe member, leading the industry category as a standout member. Oh, and did I forget to say that he's just 23? So Cornel, I gave the head starters a teaser trailer about you. So tell us more about your journey before you got here.
Well, wow, that's a long one. Basically, it all started when I was quite young. I was luckily enough, I was born with my first computer, and it was love at first keystroke. So yes, I started playing some small games back then in the 90s, beginning of the 90s, and then I continued to get more and more interested about it.
Yeah.
And in the end, I began developing. I began learning how to code. So when I was around 7, I wrote my first website. Around 10, I wrote my first software.
So what is the Lumen exactly? Go into more detail.
Yeah, basically, let me tell you how it started.
Okay.
So second year of university, that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, yeah, I'm that old. 3 years ago, I was in a conversation with a friend, and topic to topic, we got something called glasses for the blind.
Okay.
It was by accident. We reached that thing, like a syntax, like a proposition, glasses for the blind. We did not know what it meant. We began Googling and we found nothing. But we found something very interesting. There are 40 million visually impaired people in the world. Those are people which cannot see or cannot cannot use their sight to properly navigate.
Yeah.
And we began searching some solutions, and we only found guide dogs, which they're cute, they're nice. There are only 20,000 in the world. So there are 40 million visually impaired people and 20,000 guide dogs in the world. They're incredibly rare, incredibly expensive, and it was clearly not a solution. So I was involved in robotics and technology and other things. So I began thinking how I can take the things I know and find a device which can solve this problem. And that's what we did. We invented a pair of glasses, which we call Lumen.
Sure.
So how does it work? Well, you put it on like a pair of glasses. It does nothing as a pair of glasses, but we're struggling to make it look as a pair of glasses. Try one object here.
Yeah.
I actually feel a slight impulse in my forehead over here.
Okay.
But if I have an object here, to my left side or right side, I feel it over here. If the object is moving, I feel the pattern over my forehead. To get more into technology, what we're doing is basically using a 3D sensor which understands the distance to all the points in front of you. So it knows exactly the distance to each point in front of you. It knows if there's a tree there, there's a car there, and everything. It takes all that information and translates all of that in electrical impulses which go to the brain. And they go via the forehead.
The ideas that you create at Continental, is it yours or do they belong to the company?
For the first thing off, I do come with my ideas. I wrote this year 49 patents, which is for Romania is a record. But my job is not to work on my ideas only. My job is to get all the innovative people and make them do their best. So I listen every day to a lot of ideas from a lot of people, and there are great ideas coming from all over the place. And I'm lucky enough to be one of the first who hears them and to find a battle plan for each one. To understand, is this idea good enough? Is it worth investing in it now? Is it worth to postpone it a bit? Can we combine two ideas and make something better? And these are the things which I'm doing every day. Except developing my own innovation projects, I also transform ideas into full-grown projects. So for me right now, it's like doing. For me, it's like managing 50 startups. I can say I have 50 startups right now. And it's I think it's true. It's around there that, and it's great. At least I don't have to take care of all the things which you generally take care in a startup. You still have legal department. You still have the financing department, purchasing. We have all of those, and they're of great help. Otherwise, in a startup, you have to do it all by yourself, and you have to build that environment. And what it got clear to me is that unfortunately 24 hours a day is not enough. And what I'm trying to do as much as possible is to get all the help I need. So if something exists, I don't rebuild it unless I can do it much better. And that really got me into why I joined such a big corporation. Even if it's the Antichrist for me, I'm actually able to transform, not even to transform, but to adjust people, to change their mindset, and to prove that it can be done in something which is so big and so hard to move. You can actually have startups inside a great company, and that's something great. Because when you fail, nobody kills you. You don't lose that much, and you can experiment a lot.
Wow. So what would you consider to be your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that experience?
Definitely what I'm thinking of is my high school period. In my high school period, I began founding my first project, my first company, my first, the first, let's call it managing experience I had was in the 10th grade when I founded the robotics club, and it was the first high school robotics club in Romania. By numbers, it was a great success. By the end of the club, by the end of my high school senior year, we had over 100 international medals. I had over 100 students. Truth is, I was a horrible team player, at least at the beginning.
Okay.
I just didn't know how to. I knew how to lead a team, but I was just horrible at it.
Okay.
And a lot of the projects which we began were destroyed because of my lack of teamwork.
Sure.
And learn from it. I would never be a manager if I couldn't learn from the failures I had in team management and work in teamwork.
Yes.
So definitely that has been my biggest failure. But luckily, I failed fast, and I failed.
Yes.
I failed long ago,
and
I had enough time to improve it. And I actually hear a lot of people with similar stories, like in mine. They were narcissistic in their team. They were the boss and not the leader of their teams. And usually those teams fail quite fast. And there were quite a lot of situations when we failed horribly because of my of my lack of people managing or of teamwork in general.
So could you give us tips, like if as a young person you wanted to like get your ideas out there to other young people, what teaching advice would you give?
Well, mostly think about it before doing it, or plan ahead. And this is something actually in general when you want to transfer a message, you really have to find the sense in it.
Okay.
I said it before. I'm a very visual person, so I try to picture everything. And whenever I'm doing a presentation, whenever I'm showing something, whenever I'm teaching something, I really, really try to understand and painfully try to understand what is the logic way of presenting it. When I present, when I present a project, when I teach a lesson, I just think, okay, what is the introduction? How do I generate the curiosity? How do I present enough of the problem, or do I first present the solution? Or how do I go? And I really, really go into the details. And sometimes I finish a presentation, I scrap it because it's not the right way.
Sure.
So I really, really take my time into thinking about how to say and how to present something. And generally, when you're teaching, you really have to find a logical sense in what you're saying. Thing after thing, it has to lead up to one thing, and the conclusion has to be built up strongly and in small, chewable steps. And I went to university, I went to high school, I went through enough academic life, and I see so many professors fail at this.
Yes.
But a thing which I remember, I think one of my university professors told me, whenever you teach, you will learn something new, even if you're the teacher. And it was incredibly true. So many things. I got so many new ideas just by showing a concept which I knew. Even by showing something which I know and I use every day, just by showing another person that thing, I just get another glimpse of how I think. And listen to all the people, how they understand what you're saying, and all the various points is quite interesting. So still have a lot. If you have a problem and you still think about that problem, you just have to show that problem to somebody else, and they can do nothing about it, but you'll actually find the solution by talking.
Hey Head Starter, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. Check out the playlist for other parts of the episode. If you want to watch the full episode as a podcast, then check out the links below. Oh, and remember to subscribe. That's awkward.